AmandaLand, AmandaLand, AmandaLand. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to an evening edition of Views from AmandaLand, your news and truths by any joke necessary. I am here as I promised that I would be. The internet is a little bit slow-ski-woski, so I'm actually not sure if it's going to be any better than when we were on the bus, but nonetheless, we're going to give it a whirl. I also don't know why it is so cold in this room. The air conditioner is really stubborn and is like, I turned it off and it said, no, I'm still here. So I'm still here. So shout out to everybody joining us for this late night edition. I have had such a really incredible day on this freedom ride that I've been on, and it's just been really dope getting to interact with just really a different group of people. I gotta tell you, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've had a great life of interacting with artists and comics and just various creatives, and this group is an interesting group of folks who are clearly creatives, but they also express it through different means. And so being on the bus and getting to just have dope conversations, being in these different spaces, like today we were at the Union for Southern Service Workers, and we really had just a dope exchange. I posted my closing remarks on Instagram and on my Patreon. I will post my opening remarks on Patreon, and also I've been posting a lot of other footage on Patreon from the trip. So if you're curious about more of that, make sure you go to Patreon. I'll be posting more tonight. And I think for a lot of folks, that's what they love about Patreon, is that not only they have like community, but they get to see the behind the scenes, the BTS, the behind the scenes. So, we've got a lot to discuss, man. I mean, it has been no shortage of news going on. To be honest, it's actually just wild to me how much has happened in such a short amount of time. And we're going to get into it, between the Freedom Flotilla, between Los Angeles. And, I want us to really consider the responses to these things, because that's what I think a lot of folks get caught up in, is kind of like, and I'm definitely guilty of this too, of getting caught up in the, like, trying to somewhat like solve the mystery of what it is, right? Like, okay, Nasra, yo, Nasra's back. We missed you. You were missed. And so, it's really been kind of trippy just to see how much of everything has gone on. Yes, David Huerta has been released, so that's some really positive news that we got last night, like we got tonight while we were at the USSW headquarters. So I was really happy to hear that. But yeah, so we're gonna get into it. We're gonna basically just run through all the things, but mostly what I want to find out from you guys. Oh, there go Marquise. Mostly what I want to find out from you guys is just kind of what you feel the response to this needs to be. This is a real thing that's happening in real time. And where we are, I want to know where you are. So are you in a city that is responding to what's going on in Los Angeles? Are you in a city that has your own version of what's going on in Los Angeles happening? I want to know, because the media does not share these types of resistance movements. So I definitely want to hear about that from everybody, if you have any of that brewing where you're at. Okay. Also, want to share that I locked in the dates for the next What Would the Ancestors Say's happening in New York. So mark your cow, because we will be doing What Would the Ancestors Say every month in New York for August, September, and November. August, September, and November. So looking forward to that. I will be posting those dates. And Nasra said she's in the Bay and it's getting active, which doesn't surprise me. Tiff Norris said they're in Sacramento, but they haven't seen any demonstrations yet. Monica said nothing really popping in Maryland. Rachel, it was your birthday? I cannot believe it. I met Rachel Porter tonight and she did not say it was her birthday. I would have made that whole room sing you happy birthday, and you know that. Okay. Ricky said, I'm in Alabama, so nothing. Right. It is the NYC mayoral election season, and I did see something that came out today in regards to Mayor Adams. So I will get into that as well. He is one piece of work, I tell you. And I think it is incredibly scary how willing these politicians are to kowtow for, or is it kowtow? is it kowtow? Is it kowtow? I never really know. But I'm gonna say kowtow. Okay. Can y'all please say happy birthday to Rachel, who I met in person tonight and did not tell me it was her birthday. I feel like Leslie Knope Parks and Rec, who when she's denied a celebration time is like, oh my God. Like Rachel, you're just like walking around without me having sang you happy birthday. I just find that really disrespectful to me. Man. Okay. So we're gonna get into this show in just a second. I'm just putting together the last touches on this run of show, but hold on one second. I literally just got in here and then was like, okay, let me. Okay. You're gonna laugh when this one comes up. Sheesh. Okay. All right. So what are you guys doing on this evening? Like, this is like a nighttime show. This is different. It's late night. It's not your regular degular. It's not your regular degs. So I'm wondering how you guys are doing. But I am tired. And after we do this, I'm going to go to bed. So expect this to be an hour long. Okay. So let's get into this while we're here. It is time. Hey. AmandaLanders here to learn. Drop in and tell me where you're watching from. All right. It's the late night cat, and we're doing it right. AmandaLanders here to learn. Hey, stop in and tell me where you're watching from. Come on. Isabella's in her Juneteenth PJs. We got Coach G in NYC. We got Captain Jess in Raleigh, North Carolina. Patricia is bopping with us. All right. We are in North Carolina, my damn self. Who else we got? We got Sandy in the great city of Angels, Chicago. We got DC, Champaign, Illinois, North Carolina, Providence, Rhode Island, New Orleans, Louisiana, Upper West Side, NYC, Clearwater, Florida, Sleepy in the D, Dallas, Fort Worth, Tejas. We got Nasra in the Bay Area. Stephanie is in the shower. We got Carmen in Littleton, Texas. Keisha Brown is just getting in, decompressing in the East Bay. Shout out to Libby in Wausau, Wisconsin, Mimi in Toronto, Kimberly in South LA with the Blacks. With the Blacks. Okay. Andrew Jones is not at the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles watching the BET Awards. Connie is in Boise, Idaho. Wait a minute. Do we have an Idaho? We got Louisiana. We got another Louisiana. We got Providence, Rhode Island. We got Miami, Florida. St. Paul, Minnesota. Natasha is in LA. We got Liz in Riverside. We got Wanderbug in Manassas, Virginia. National City, California. Shout out to Washington Heights. We got Salt Lake City, Mexico City, Watley, Alabama, Merida, Yucatan Peninsula. We got Fahad in Saudi Arabia. We got Dorian in Alabama and Albany. We got Sage in Lamarck, Texas. We got CeeLo in Louisiana. I mean, this is what we're doing. We're having a great time, y'all. AmandaLanders here to learn. Thank you for telling me where you're watching from. So Marquise, we are actually, I think you were out, but after my break in July, I am going to be do Views from AmandaLand on once a week on Wednesdays, and we'll have kind of like an informal Monday night show where it's not going to be like, you know, fully produced, et cetera, et cetera. It's more just like running down the day's events, et cetera. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Just a side note, if you've seen me posting on Instagram, it's because I really do feel like we're in like a heightened moment right now. And in that heightened moment, it felt like I need to be in the space where the people are, even if I can't stand the space. And this is being reflected in even some of the stories that are coming out today. You know? So we're actually going to talk about that, Gene Bean, the tampered election machines. We're going to talk about the story. We're going to read it together because I didn't get a chance to read it. So we'll take a look at it together and see what it says. Because, you know, the headlines be headlying. Okay? The headlines be headlying. So we're going to get into that. I'm also sharing a room with Claudia de la Cruz. So if she comes back from her meeting in time, I'll ask her to come on the camera and we'll chit chat with y'all. What else? We are going to talk about Mayor Eric Adams. We're also going to talk about the Freedom Flotilla and what's going on in Cali. All right. So let's get into a word of the day. Okay, let's get into a word of the day. The word of the day is eloquent. Okay, the word of the day is eloquent. Eloquent is, hold on. Actually, you know what? So the word of the day is eloquent. It is an adjective. It is spelled E-L-O-Q-U-E-N-T. Eloquent. And eloquent means to to express ideas forcefully and fluently. Okay, it's somebody who can flow with it. All right, you can flow with it. Eloquent. Eloquent. It's an adjective. Eloquent. Can anybody use eloquent in a word? The word eloquent. Does anybody use it in a sentence? Sorry, can anyone use eloquent in a sentence? This Thank you, Sita. Sita says Amanda you speaks eloquently on current affairs. Ding. Oh, this is a great one. Zeb's NYC says James Baldwin was always eloquent in his writings. Ding. Um, Jessica Ramsey says, I try to speak eloquently, but it often comes out as word salad. Ding. Tiki Tuki says, some people call it yapping. I call it eloquence. Love it. Fatima says, Zohran Mamdani is eloquently winning the hearts of many, and the Zios are shaking at the chances of him winning. Ding. I mean, he really has been throwing things off. Okay. Jean Bean says Amanda Seales is always eloquent, especially in her reads. I try. Ding. Andrea says the way them headliners be headlining don't be getting eloquent. Say that. Ding. And we're gonna end it on Natasha. Trump couldn't spell eloquent. Applause. Sandy's got some important etymology for us. The word's roots lie in the Latin verbs eloqui, which means to speak out, and loqui, to speak, ultimately stemming from the Indo-European root tolque, to speak. So there we go. That's our word of the day, eloquent. All right. All right. What else do we have going on? Let's get into it. Let's not waste any time. It's late. Your girl done had a whole day of talking to people and socializing on a bus, in a field, in an office, etc.
Blaggery news, politics, blaggery news, pop culture, blaggery news, sports, blaggery news, justice.
So this has become a story that has been going on now for the last few hours. I saw it pop up and folks are running with it. And the story is that Kamala Harris, apparently that it's like official that she won the election because the machines were tampered with. Now, I got to tell you all, I think that's a very bold assertion to make, for it to only be in one place. Now, of course, I've been saying that this thing was rigged the whole time. So let's not act like this is like some wildly kindy. This is not some like completely like wild out there concept. That being said, I found it somewhat interesting that it was in something called the Economic Times. So let's actually just go through this story, okay? The Economic Times says Kamala Harris won the US elections. Bombshell report claims voting machines were tampered with before 2024. A new report is stirring fresh debate about the outcome of the 2024 US presidential election. Remember, I'm just reading this for the first time with y'all, okay? The bombshell allegation raises a serious question. Now, for the record, this just said the same thing 3 different times. So that tells me that this has a very good chance of being complete BS, but we're still going to read it together. According to the investigative piece from Daily Boulder, a private lab quietly implemented sweeping changes to voting machines used in over 40% of U.S. counties ahead of the 2024 race. Those changes, the report claims, were made with no public notice, no formal testing, and no third party oversight. What changes were made to voting machines before the 2024 election? The report centers around ProV&V, a federally accredited lab responsible for certifying voting machines in key states like Pennsylvania, Florida, New Jersey, and California. In early 2024, the lab reportedly approved updates to ES&S voting systems, which included new ballot scanners, printer reconfigurations, firmware upgrades, a new election reporting system. Instead of labeling these as major changes, ProV&V classified them as de minimis, a term typically reserved for insignificant tweaks. This classification allowed them to bypass public scrutiny and avoid triggering full-scale testing or certification process. So we know that there's already the case going on in Rockland County, New York, where they're saying that for some reason, Senate candidate Kimberly Gillibrand got all these votes, but Kamala Harris got 0 votes. And we know that that makes no sense. Now, what we're going to have to do is follow the money. That's what's going to have to happen. They're going to have to bring an official investigation forward to this V&V company. And then we're going to have to see where the money came from. This feels exactly like watching All the President's Men and seeing Woodward and Bernstein follow the money to figure out how these guys ended up in the office of the Democratic National Convention. Now, as far as it being rigged, I mean, Tiki Tuki Sear said Kamala Harris needs to sit back down talking about it was rigged. I mean, Kamala Harris is not the one who said it was rigged. However, maybe the DNC put out this, maybe this has truth to it. So, I mean, the reality though is that this is the thing I want people to understand though. Even if it's proven that she won, then what? Do you think these people are just going to give it up? Do you think that there's any like government agency that's going to check that? No, that's why the first thing they did was to dismantle all the watchdog elements of the government. There's nobody there that's going to handle this. Pam Bondi's not going to take up the case, and this is a DOJ case. So, that's really, so this is why, like, when the election happened, the fact that Kamala conceded so quickly was problematic to me, because it was like, well, obviously this had something funny style going on. And I just felt like her conceding so quickly I didn't understand that strategy. Maybe there's something deeper that I'm missing. But I would be hard pressed. To say that I think Donald Trump is going to just say, you got me. Because really, as Zeb's NYC said right here, maybe this explains why so many things have been happening so quickly. Because they knew that they had a very quick turnaround before they would be caught. So Askari Ali says to put on our hood senses and that this whole thing is a setup. Okay, let me put on my hood senses. If I put on my hood senses, then it does still compute to me as they did this. They did the trickery, and then they knew they had to. Okay, let me put it in hood terms. Okay, so there's the plug, right? Okay, there's 2 hustlers. So let me put this in hood terms. There's 2 hustlers Kismet. The hood census for me comes in from listening to copious amounts of hip hop and dating dudes from the hood. If this is my if I'm using my hood census, then what it feels like is that you've got two hustlers, and basically one of them is trying to take over the other one's block. And he gets to the plug and he says to the plug, "All right, I'm trying to take over that block. And if you help me, I got you." So Kamala's one of the hustlers, Trump is one of the hustlers, and the plug is the corporations. The plug is the corporations. And so they like, "All right, what you trying to do?" And he's like, "Well, if you let me get at Buddy's pack first, then I'm a contaminate the pack." Because what happens is if you contaminate someone's pack, then their customers will die of overdoses, or they will, on the opposite, will actually be like, "This is useless. Like, I didn't get high off of this. This is a waste of my money." And they'll go elsewhere. So they like, "All right, bet." So they make this deal. But it's only gonna take the other hustler so long to peep like, "Yo, buddy just cut it, like you did this." And he's obviously gonna be like, "But I got this from the plug." So what would have to happen is both the plug and the other hustler is gonna have to get taken out. And the Democrats ain't cut like that, fams. All right. I mean, I just wrote like season 6 of Power. That was season 6 of Power. But the problem is that like the Dems are not they're not equally cut. But y'all followed though. Whether we're talking narcos or power, it's like they ain't cut like that. Yeah. They say this is a big rich town. Now, Natasha, on the other hand, there's a whole other setup that could be happening right here, which is ultimately that they want JD Vance in place and that Trump is going to actually get the boot. Just a side note, can we just all take a moment to acknowledge the outrage when they played Trey Songz's version of the intro to Power? Yeah. Outrage. People were so livid. Get this shit out of here. I just remember how on the internet people were really angry. Look at Nasra. She said, "I was so heated when that happened." They played it one time. One time. We ain't seen Trey Songz since. That man said, "I'm going to Bali." First, y'all are accusing me of sexual assault, and then y'all are mad that they play in my version of the intro. I'm out. Okay, that was my moment of levity because I genuinely feel like they really are going to end up flipping on Trump. And I think that's going to be the wildest part of all of it because he has been flipping on everybody and then he's going to get flipped on. I do think that could very well happen. Because, I mean, it would be also kind of like such an extreme dramatic irony. Like it would be such a Shakespeare play, right? I mean, like King Lear or one of them boys. Welcome to the winter of our discontent. Imagine. But see, Nasser, he's not laying low. He just did a podcast, like a very popular podcast with Theo Von today. but he's not in alignment with Trump. Like he's not hanging out with Trump. Like he's not talking about this Elon Musk stuff. Like he's doing his own tour. So this big birthday hoopla that's happening, I think I'm very much all these tanks that have been coming in, I think are very sketchy McWetchy. And I absolutely feel like the tanks are not going to go anywhere after they use them for whatever this birthday thing is. Now, I hear people saying things like civil war, and I don't know if people really understand what a civil war is. So a civil war would be, it ends up being members, like opposing members of the same society. So like the Civil War in the United States was the South against the North, but they were militarized brigades of, regular people. Like they weren't like an army. They formed armies. So it would mean who are the sides in this civil war? Oh, Civil War, like the Garland film. Got it. I mean, possibly, yeah. Um, but this story was about, did Kamala win for real, for real? And I will say to you, um, the election was absolutely rigged. I don't know if we'd even be able to tell if Kamala won. I think that is a very bold headline because I think it was rigged to assure that he would win. So I don't think we even know what the real results of the election are. We just know that these aren't real election results. Does that make sense? Like that to me is what is actually at stake here. Um so I think it's not as simple as, oh, Kamala won because the voting machines were rigged. The voting machines were rigged. It's an assumption to say that she won. We just know that whatever took place was not a genuine, fair election. And ultimately, none of these elections are genuine, fair elections on a federal level in particular. So um, I don't even think it was so much about Kamala and Trump as much as it was about the House and the Senate. So it's not, I actually think she still would have lost. I think the greater conversation is who would have actually won in the House and the Senate and created the majorities that were needed for Project 2025 to do what it's doing. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a possibility that Elon will spill the beans. I mean, I think there's also a possibility that he would get merged before he did. So, I don't know if I believe that the Dems threw the election. I think that they are genuinely idiots in terms of understanding outside of their bubble what is happening in the United States. I genuinely feel that way. Like it's a bunch of white people who are not in touch with anything beyond their liberal mindset, and they are only wanting to keep America white. And they only like folks who are progressive outside of whiteness, but like based on their terms of liberalism. So I don't know if I believe that they're that like savvy to just launder donations. People gave those donations willingly without asking for anything. They literally just gave her money because she showed up. She was not primaried. Like they just threw in money. They just threw in money. And so some people will say, well, Amanda, you're just complaining about them, but now what? Well, listen, the complaining about them is really about trying to bring attention to their inadequacy, which will ultimately force people to rethink how they interact with them. That's it. It's not more complex than that. That is why I am constantly bringing the failure of the Democrats to your attention, in the hopes that by doing so, we will stop just resting on our laurels. And every time that there's some like, oh my gosh, we have to vote for the Democrats, the concept is we're going to vote for them and then we're going to hold them accountable. And no one ever verbalizes or presents any concept of how to hold them accountable other than just not voting for them again. So there really is no way to hold them accountable. So this whole idea of, well, we're going to get them in office and then is a ruse. It's a ruse. And ultimately, if the Dems welcome Elon, because that's what he's suggesting, right? Elon is like, I don't like either of them. I'm going to make a third party. Or he also threatened to then give his money to the Democrats. And when he threatened that, Donald Trump was like, if he does that, he's going to have big problems, huge problems. So like if they do it, we shall see. We shall see. Shall we get into some 60-second headlines? I think we shall. AmandaLand. 60-second headline. And I run down some news right quick.
Run it down, mama. Put us on.
Okay, let's get into the big story, right? Los Angeles. It's been nuts. It's been nuts. Now, we're seeing people in the streets, and many of them are representing Latino communities. And now we have Trump sending more National Guard. We saw the arresting of David Huerta, who is the head of the SIEU, which is one of the biggest labor unions in the nation. Like that's who represents like essential workers, et cetera. And we see him get released, but we also then see Pete Hegseth saying that they are deploying a battalion of 700 Marines to come and like shut down the protests. Then we have Newsom with his fake outrage. You better say that. And he's over here, Kiana, talking about how this can't happen. I haven't even seen Karen Bass, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was like, no, sit down. It's going to be me. It's going to be me. And so now he's over here like, this is terrible. This is ridiculous. And Donald Trump, if you want to arrest me, come and arrest me. And now Donald Trump's over here telling Tom Homan, it's just white people. It's just white men, white manning. All of this is nonsense. All of this is performative BS because ultimately I think Gavin Newsom is a straight up Republican at this point. Like, see, I knew she was going to say some dumb shit. I didn't even see what she said, but I knew it was going to be corny. She was out there talking about Trump did good for the fires, but she's disappointed in this. Girl, this happened because you created a sanctuary city in November. Like she rushed to make LA a sanctuary city. And then she didn't even do anything to actually make it solid. Like we didn't see the police chief and the police commissioner and them say, yeah, we're not going to do this. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And now I sometimes feel like, Natasha, you might be right. All of this is staged. The initial instigators, because we're also seeing like things being brought into the chat, like, oh, we need to use Palantir right now in LA. And oh, we need to release we got Stephen Miller over here talking about, excuse me, this is insurrection and we need to shut this down. Like they're using the language, they're manufacturing consent. This is what they want. They want somewhere where they can just put martial law in place. And I ain't gonna front, like LA is going ham. They're going ham. And so I also see like Black people saying, like, this is not our fight. This is not our fight. And for what it's worth, we are not Black people, we don't operate enough as a collective to even be talking about ourselves in a collective, as a collective. Okay. So I don't want to hear this is not our fight. Because there are Black trans people, but then y'all say this is not our fight. There are Black immigrants, and y'all say this is not our fight. There are Black Palestinians, you say this is not our fight. Our money is being used to do all kinds of harm all over the world. And yet you still say, well, we need to focus on ourselves. That's not our fight. And it's like, okay, but if your money is being used all over the world instead of being used for your own elevation, your own equality, your own reparations, then wouldn't it make sense to focus your energy on stopping them from sending your money over there? How do you then get them to care about you? You don't even care about you. Because you don't care about the trans Jews, you don't care about the Palestinian Jews, you don't care about the immigration, the Jews who are immigrants. So, like, what are we really talking about? Now, some might say, well, those aren't really Black folks. And then that's when I say, well, then we're just not the same type of Blacks. We're just not the same type of Blacks. My values are different. There's certain things that I'm not going to put my body out there for. I'm not going to go out there and put my body on the line for Social Security. I'm not going to put my body on the line for Doge. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. However, I 1000% felt it very important to join the Freedom Ride and to be in spaces and places with other people who feel like coalition building across faiths, across gender, across class, across labor unions, all of the above are imperative to us breaking the barrier of divide and conquer. And so I also feel like there's ways in which that we can fight differently. As a Black person, I don't feel like my body needs to be on the line for the only way to fight, like the only way to resist. I definitely saw that in Manager, and I was like, please cut it out. They were like, please put away Mexican and Palestinian flags because the optics need to be American flags being attacked by the military. No, how about you put up Israeli flags? I'm going to see that. How about y'all go out there with Israeli flags and flip the script on them in that way? That's what I want to see. Like, if we gonna flip it, flip it. Okay? That's what I want to see. Because I feel like that. And when it comes to the Marines, I'm just like, I feel like if the Marines are going to be deployed, everybody should just go home. I feel like everybody should just go home. Once the Marines get there, everybody should just go home. Go have a carne asada at the house. Go have a carne asada at the house. Everybody should just literally go home. It should be crickets. I'm so serious. It should be like, oh, we're now going on strike from the protest. Just quiet. That's it. That's it. That's my vision. Because the thing about Marines is that they're only brought in for the finish. They're not brought in to de-escalate. They're brought in to silence. So if you're going to be out there, I feel like everybody should be out there with Israeli flags. It should just look like Israel. and and otherwise everyone should just be at the house. The cops on horses makes me so mad, and I just know the horses is like, I'm not with this. I don't like it. So that's what's going on in LA. And it's been kind of hard to keep up. But Glendale has said that they have ended their relationship with ICE. So Plainsight is asking why the Israel flag? Because we are in a nation that has become so under the toe of Israel that we are literally putting citizens in harm's way because of Israel. The protection and preservation of Israel. So if you're going to make the preservation of Israel more important than American citizens, and we want to talk about optics, then have the Marines come and attack all these people in the streets holding Israel flags. The concept of optics is how things look. Like in Selma on Bloody Sunday, that is what ended up really kind of forcing the final hand of the Voting Rights Act. It was the optics of seeing all these like elderly Black people being beat on that Edmund Pettus Bridge. It was just the actual like visual of that was far realer than the description of it. So optics in the United States in particular end up being a very big part of the story, because so much of the story is about media and manufacturing consent. So let's talk about the Freedom Flotilla. The Freedom Flotilla is really trippy because as of right now, we still, I don't know about y'all, maybe I missed it, but I still haven't heard from any of them about, what's going on, but I will play this video for you guys.
And I am from Sweden.
Hi everyone, I'm Thiago Avila. I'm a Brazilian citizen.
My name is Yasim Najjar and I'm from Germany.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Pascal Morieras. Je suis français.
Bonjour à toutes et à tous, je m'appelle Rima Hassan, je suis franco-palestinienne.
My name is Baptiste André from France.
Mijn naam is Mark Fronis en ik kom uit Nederland.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Yanis Mamdi et je suis journaliste à Blast.
My name is Sergio Toribio from Spain.
My name is Revaz Sefervia, I'm from France.
My name is Hussein Shuaib Ordu from Turkey.
Member of the Freedom Flotilla Coalition, and if you're watching this video, it means that I've been detained or kidnapped by Israel or another complicit force.
Actively participating in the genocide of Palestinians.
I urge all my friends, family and comrades to put pressure on the Swedish government to release me and the others as soon as possible.
Put pressure on the German government.
Put pressure on the Turkish government.
Please share this video and put pressure on the French government so that we could be with my friends released, and also of course that this genocide ends.
We count on you right now. Hey everyone, we've just been attacked by a swarm of drones here. They attacked the humanitarian aid, they attacked the top of our cockpits. Please, go to your places. Ditch the phones! Ditch the... Yeah, here's the drone again. Guys, take over, please. Yanni, Schweib, change your life jacket, please. He's coming right beside. Take over, take over.
Okay, everyone, you see this light? There's a drone right above us lighting this light. We are getting into position right now. This is take cover.
Don't stay inside. This is being very protected for us.
Guys, oh my god!
Yeah, take over. These people are here. We mean that.
Rien à faire en prison.
Signal was not gone.
Lève les mains là.
Yasin, we have no signal.
Call sign. Mike, Romeo, Alpha, Hotel.
Calm down. Calm down. Calm down, everyone. Calm down.
Now, let me just say this.
cannot fear them. They cannot expect the global uprising that may come.
So Pierce Morgan, who was so close to not being a complete douchebag, has resumed his regular D-bag status in an interview with the UN envoy, Francesca Albanese, who is a beast per usual. And I'm not going to play the clip because I just don't want to see his face. But essentially, he has some like bone to pick with Greta Thunberg, which makes no sense because she's like 20 nothing and she's like a Swedish climate activist. And he basically has Francesca Albanese on the show, and the whole time he's just upset about Greta Thunberg and is really saying that the Freedom Flotilla is just a ruse, and that basically the entire world now sees that this is all a ruse, that this is all just a kind of like he basically said it was a clout chase. What are you talking about? And anyone who's saying they're doing this for attention, yes, you're here talking about it. Yes. Why is that so difficult to understand? Yes, that was the whole point, to bring attention. And now you've got the envoys coming from Ugrab, and then, they're doing the walk to Gaza. Yes, that's literally the whole point. That's the whole point. Like, good job. You got it. But honestly, why do you dislike this young lady so much? It's weird. It's weird for this old A man to have an issue with a young person. The same way it was weird for him to have an issue with Meghan Markle. And they have like petty, like it's beef. It's like on site type behaviors. I don't understand. Why do they all have a problem with Greta? Like, I don't know enough about her, but to my understanding, like she's an activist, and she was like a young person activist who I knew had, like, the story was that she has autism and she's still out here speaking. And then as she has like understood and learned more about the world, she has expanded her activism and organizing to be far more intersectional and to include Palestine and the global South. I don't understand. I don't understand. I just don't understand. But Francesca was like, so I am an expert in international law, and you brought me on here to talk about Greta Thunberg? And he was like, well, all of this was just, he was like, well, all of this was really just, it was just them just pretending. Like they were just doing this just to get attention. I mean, this is just really a waste of time. And she was like, you know what? Like, honestly, Pierce, your opinion means nothing. Your opinion means nothing. She was like, your opinion means zero. Goodbye. Goodbye. Yeah. Now, I did see that apparently the IDF are planning to force the crew of the Madeleine to watch like gruesome footage from October 7th. Any of us who have been watching what's been going on in Palestine since footage was available for it would not flinch at what's happened in October 7th, because we've already seen decapitated children. We've already seen children's bodies propelled into the air by explosives. Outside of the gore, we have seen the emotional gore of mothers and children and fathers and workers dealing with the constant reality of death. So I'm not sure what they think they're going to do, but I feel like they would be better off forcing them to listen to Return of the Mac on like a super high volume for an extended period of time. I get worried sometimes when I say things like that, because I'm just like, if someone ever decided to torture me, like that's what they would do. They would strap me to a chair and force me to listen to Return of the Mac. And that would do it. I would tell all the secrets. So, oh my God, Jeremiah, you just made it worse. And Jeremiah, I can't, please. Yasmin asks, did you see the propaganda they tried to pull, passing out sandwiches and water to the 12 activists? I did not see that. Is that right? Ain't that something? A mess. I did not see that at all. Well, let me just tell you, it's going to be very interesting to see what the next steps are with the Freedom Flotilla. They did a very smart thing with having, a bunch of people from all different places. And this ends up really being the beginning of what the next thing should be. I don't know if anyone's ever seen Dunkirk, but basically what happens in the movie Dunkirk is they talk about how during World War II, these two ships full of like Navy, full of sailors got like stranded, and they were not going to be able to get off of the ships. Like the ships were sinking in the middle of the ocean off of France. And I don't know if it was France, but they were sinking off the coast of Europe. And it was small boats from Ireland, I believe. I think that's where Dunkirk is. Don't quote me on any of this because it's a little murky. It's either Ireland or Scotland, but it was these little boats, and it was these like, just regular people that were not soldiers that heard about this and said, okay, we're going to just take our little boats and we're going to rescue them. But the scene in Dunkirk of all the little boats pulling up, like that's what I want to see for the Freedom Flotilla. I want to see a Freedom Flotilla 2.0 with all little boats. That's what I want to see. No, the whites, I don't believe it was a white substance. I don't believe it was a white substance that they had poured over the ship. It was baby formula. And when they attacked the ship, it actually hit one of their containers that was holding aid. Oh, so maybe this is correct. The white substance was supposedly to track the boat at night because it's glow in the dark. Look at that. I do not know who Slumbella is. No. So look at this. Okay, so what I read was apparently incorrect. It was sprayed by a drone. The white substance was sprayed by the drones. This is nuts, Serena. Nutsopolis. Okay. You know what else is nuts? How much of a Zio simp Mayor Adams is. So I want to remind you that the New York mayoral race, yes, it has Cuomo. Yes, it has Zofran Mamdani, but Mayor Adams still is trying to be the mayor still. Like he still thinks he has a shot to win. So he's still trying to do his best to try and, kind of butter up the base. If you saw the debates, you saw that everybody else running for mayor was kowtowing to the dumb, idiotic question of, well, would you go visit Israel? Please stop. Please stop. Then Zofran was on a morning show that I've been on several times. And this lady going to ask him again, I'm just asking you because you couldn't really tell your full honest answer. And then she's going to ask him, do you think Israel should exist? And he says, no, not in an ethno state. And she's like, why not? And he's like, because I don't think any ethno state should exist. No state should exist where people have different no state should exist where people have different rights based on their ethnicity or their religion, their gender, etc. What? So now you have Mayor Adams, who has signed an executive order at the Tribeca Synagogue in Lower Manhattan recognizing a widely used international definition of anti-Semitism as part of a broader push to confront what they say is a spike in anti-Jewish hate across the 5 boroughs. I have yet to see that, and saying pro-Palestine is not anti-Jewish hate. So he announced this measure, and it basically adopts the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's, the HRA's version of anti-Semitism. And city agencies will now use the definition to help identify and respond to anti-Semitic incidents. And this is them trying to now criminalize pro-Palestinian protests. Now, they're stating that, and this is, I quote, "This order will enable us to promote understanding and facilitate a thoughtful response to anti-Semitic hate in New York City. A certain perception of Jews which may be expressed as hatred toward Jews." What are you talking about? They're just trying to shut down free speech. So Mayor Adams is a Zionist simp. We know that. We know he's trash. We know he's corny. He be in the club. So that is them. They're going to definitely try and use that to shut down encampments, etc. So we'll see. But I'll tell you what, I think if Zoran does win, they're going to lose their minds. Brains are going to explode. Hetero. Hetero. I don't know if you all were in the club when Heads or Roll was happening. The yeah. Baby, that was a time. Okay? You know what else was happening at that time? Robin dancing all by myself. Was y'all in the club when that was happening? That was a time, honey. That was a time. Exactly. He said about white girl dancing. Raising the roof. Man. All right. I told you I was only giving you an hour, and that's all I have for you. But before we go, I do want to play you an example of a high quality white.
With your assault rifles and your sticks, you should be standing here with us. You're on the wrong side of history. We know you got a job to do, but you took an oath to the Constitution, not to the fascists in the White House. Think about what you're doing now. Think about what this means. Coming into our community. Peaceful fucking community. People working their jobs. They send in men in military fatigues. Weapons of war into our community. And you stand here and you allow it. I am sick and tired of it. You should be sick and tired of it. You think any of these people in the White House sending you these commands give a fuck about you? Not one of them do. They laugh at you. Our president laughs at you. He calls you fools. He said the people who died overseas in the military were chumps. That's who you're defending right now. Every last... Think about your place in history, ladies and gentlemen. Ask yourself when you wake up tomorrow. I don't know if you have kids. Ask yourself the future you want for your children. Is it this? You can answer me.
No.
Is it this? Do you feel good about this?
You know what I call that? A high quality white. That's what I call that. You know what it's also giving me? Hanoi Hannah. Do you know who Hanoi Hannah is? Hanoi Hannah was a radio personality, and during Vietnam, every night she would come on the radio and be like playing with the minds of the GIs. And she would be like, GI, your country doesn't care about you, GI. Your country sent you here to die, GI. Your country is not even concerned with how you're doing, GI. Why would you be here, GI? Why are you here, GI? Do you even know what you're fighting, GI? This is silly for you, GI. Get out of here, GI. Every night in they head. Zombie, zombie, zombie. Mm-hmm. So I want to shout out that HQW. And we need more like him. We need whites that catch a vibe. We need whites that catch a vibe. So it looks like we're not going to be leaving here till 11 tomorrow. So I'm going to come on in the morning. And we have a guest, Key Pritzer from Breakthrough News, who is brilliant. Yeah, like soup's brilliant. So he's going to be on with us tomorrow morning. So I'm really looking forward to that because he's just, I feel like I'm not even going to have to say anything. Maybe Claudia will come on. Maybe she'll come on and wave to you and say, hola, fight the power. We'll see. I'll see what strings I can pull. Everyone have a great one. I'm heading into a phase of delirium. So I'm going to shut it down. You know, it's my bedtime. You know that it's my bedtime. Okay. I've also started this thing where I say everything twice. From doing this show, I say everything twice, which I think is a teaching tool. But please stay focused. Please stay alert and oriented. Please share with your friends who do not want to know about politics. Force it on them. And I wish all of you a great evening. Sleep well. Dream well. And if you haven't, I wrote a little poem about what's going on in LA on my Substack. So could be cool to check that out. You know, get you some poetics in you. In the meantime, in between time, I'm still on this freedom ride. And tomorrow we'll be heading to Charlotte. And I have some videos I'm going to be posting to the Patreon if you want to get more BTS behind the sales. And, you know, be in the mix with us. It's good vibes. So like, I feel like you would just watch it because it's vibes. You know what I mean? Like toast vibes. So you know what time it is. Time for them 30 seconds of stillness. 30 seconds of stillness. I enjoyed laughing and learning with you. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And tell your friends. Also, listen to the podcast. It's available everywhere pods are casted. Listen ad-free by subscribing to Patreon Amanda Seals. Come on and join the Seal Squad. Views from AmandaLand. Live 10 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Wednesday, with content on Thursday and Friday at YouTube Amanda Seals TV.